Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's Kathy Klotz-Guest here, coming to you live on Thursday. Oh my goodness, March has been a blur. I hope you're doing great. I've been on the road more days in March than I've been home. So it's great to be back. I'm sort of unpacking and unprocessing from a really busy, kind of hectic, but really good month. And I hope you're doing great. I want to just share a couple of anecdotes here today. And it got me thinking a lot about this concept of safe spaces. And are you creating a safe space in your world and in your relationships with people? Because safe spaces are key to so many great things. Safe spaces connect us with people. Safe spaces deepen relationships. Safe spaces help people know it's okay to fail around us, and that encourages innovation. So just a really quick story that I shared on Facebook a few days ago that I just want to reiterate because I think it's such an important concept. And I was coming back from San Diego from social media marketing world last Friday, and I was wiped out. And I had no intention of even talking to anybody, but my husband teases me and says I have one of those faces. Hey, Manuel, hola. He says I have one of those faces, those talk to me faces. So I had my headphones on and I had fully planned to just mentally check out. I was tired. I was wiped out. And a gentleman came and sat next to me, and there was an energy about him. And he came and sat down next to me, and he had a really large bag of peanut M&Ms. And in this big yellow bag. And I said, my gosh, that's a lot of M&Ms. He said, well, there's more of it to share. And we got to talking, and just within a few minutes, he very quickly shared with me that his wife had terminal brain cancer. And I was a little taken aback. And in that moment, it was just such a visceral choice for me. Many of you know that I walked that journey last year with my mom with her ovarian cancer and her breast cancer, and it eventually took her life last year. So here was a person standing in front of me, and I was exhausted. And he, in telling me this, was asking, really without asking, he was asking permission to unburden without actually asking it. And I thought, who am I to say no? People showed up in my life when I was in a lot of pain and I needed support. So I said, it's okay. And he sat there and we talked for about 25 more minutes, and he talked about his wife, and I asked him how he was doing, and he kind of ignored the question. He never talked about himself. He wanted to talk about his wife and how much he loved her, and he talked about that, and that's what he needed to talk about. And at the end of the conversation, as our flight came and we were both boarding to leave San Diego for San Jose, he said, he grabbed my hand so tight, like that it actually, like my hand went white because he grabbed so hard, and he said, thank you. And I said, I'm sorry, I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have been and done more for you. And he said, no, it was enough. And I realized that it was in some small way a gift to me as well. He gave me a gift of sharing this journey with a stranger, but because I had said, no, it's okay. You know, he thought he overshared about his wife early on in the conversation, and I said, no, it's okay. I understand painfully something about that journey. And I don't think there's any random coincidences here. And because I said, no, it's okay, this is okay for you to talk about, he opened up that funnel more. And it got me thinking, as I'm a storyteller, and I always do, it's an occupational hazard. It started me thinking about this concept of safe spaces. And are we creating safe spaces for people to tell us things, to deepen the relationship, to share with us, to innovate? If you run a business or you manage a team, and I came out of marketing and high tech, I manage teams. Are you making it safe for people to fail? Are you making it safe for people to experiment? Are you making it safe for people to try new things? So I think it's very much related to this concept of creating a safe space where people can open up, take a risk, share something with you, try something. Maybe it doesn't work out, and not feel shamed about it. And the more that you create a safe space and let people know that it is a safe space for them to operate, to try new things, the more I think you're going to deepen those relationships. Now, here's the true confession. It wasn't always the case for me. Yes, I was always, people ask me, were you always funny? Yes. Were you always, like you? Yes. But I came out of corporate America, and I spent years in software and hardware, and even I was a research analyst at DataQuest Gartner. And I came out of very male-dominated industries. I was young, I was female, I was blonde. So I was armored up. The truth is, I was emotionally armored up because I had to be. At least I felt that way at the time, to survive. I felt like I had to constantly not be the stereotype that I think people looked at me and thought of. So I, without even realizing I was doing it, I was emotionally armored up. Now, what that meant, because I was armored up, was that I was sending out signals that I didn't want people to share with me. Now, if you took me outside that milieu, you got me out for a beer, yes, I wanted people to share with me. I wanted people to open up. I wanted all these things because that's who I am. But what I didn't realize early on in my career in high tech was that because I had to survive, I put up walls. And these walls were emotional signals that I didn't realize I was sending. I was sending these beacons that said, you know what, don't open up, don't tell me things. And I didn't even realize that was happening until years later. And I realized that the price that I paid for being emotionally walled up to survive an environment meant that I had put up a fortress around me that people liked me, but they didn't feel that they could necessarily tell me things. Now, I wasn't judgy, but it was sort of like, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And I was unwittingly sending those signals out. Didn't mean to, wasn't even aware that I was doing it. And until years later. And so my journey, my path, my process, everything in my world over the years that has brought me to a place of bringing these walls down has me recognizing how and why people share with us. They share with us when they see that we are safe, that we have created an emotionally safe space. And that means that even if you maybe aren't telling people not to share with you, you're not going out of your way, you might be sending signals unwittingly, unknowingly, that keep people at bay. So I ask you this, so just a very simple question. How are you creating a safe space around you that lets people know it's okay to share, it's okay to open up, it's okay to be real, it's okay to take risks? If you run a team, as I say, and I did, I came out of corporate America, I ran a marketing team. Are you making it okay for the people in your world to tell you things, to fail, to try things, or are they afraid? And to the extent that you are creating a safe space around you, the world will change around you. It's spiritual physics, y'all. It's spiritual physics. When you make it safe to be you, when you make it safe to as somebody who can be approached and share things with, people will. Now, it's been many years since I left, 7, 8 years since I left corporate America and started my own business. But here's the thing, when you take these walls down and you become much more dialed in to everybody around you, people will tell you things. And my husband laughs at me and he always says, you have that face. You have that tell me everything face. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I'd like to think that it's really more an emotional awareness and emotional heightening that I've learned over the years, that I can kind of clue into how people are feeling emotionally, and that tells me when it's time to put the headphones out and listen, when it's time to put the book away and listen, when it's time to encourage people to open up, when it's time to just be there and really just hear people out. So I ask you, because it's something that I think about a lot in my business and in my world, am I creating safe spaces around me? Am I creating safe spaces in my business, in my personal relationships? And I ask you the same thing. Are you creating a safe space? Because if you're a leader and people aren't taking risks around you and you feel like people aren't sharing with you, chances are you are unknowingly communicating that it's not safe. And you're probably doing it unintentionally. You may not realize you're sending certain signals, but it can happen, and it can happen so unwittingly. I've been there. And I remember what it was like to try to survive an environment. And I felt emotionally walled up. So I ask you, how are you being vulnerable? How are you showing that you care emotionally? How are you connecting? How are you showing up and being real? How are you making it okay for people to fail, for people to be raw, for people to be vulnerable? The only truth that matters to people is how they feel, not facts. It's how they feel. People believe their emotions. And if their emotions tell them that it's not safe around you, and it might be hurtful for you to hear because you think you are, you're probably unknowingly sending out signals that say, hey, I don't want to hear it. And it's hard to hear, and I know that. I totally get that. And it's okay. You can disarm. You can take the wall down. You can take the emotional wall down. It's a process. It's a process. So don't give up. If people aren't confiding in you, if people aren't feeling maybe that they can say things around you, there is a way to have these conversations, and there's a way to really listen, and there's a way to share a little bit with people of who you are so that people feel skin in the game. They feel emotional investment from you that you're sharing, and therefore it's safe. You're making it okay for them to reciprocate. So don't give up. Like I say, life is a journey, right? So we're all here on a journey, learning from each other. Never ever judge your own journey. Like I say, that's what your family is for. I'm going to leave out the expletive. It's the closing line from my one-woman show that I've performed several times now in the Bay Area. And don't give up. Just make sure that you keep at it and ask yourself how you're emotionally dialed into other people. And I tell you, you can go from being walled up, it's okay, to having people tell you the strangest things. And people will tell me all kinds of things now. And I see that as a compliment. And I see that as a real maturity and an evolution in my own path about being open, and that people will trust and will take risks around you, and they will share, and they will take advantage of that safe space. So don't give up. Don't give up. You can do it. I'm living proof. And like I say, years and years ago, when I was, the only woman oftentimes in a group of all men in software, I had to be emotionally walled up, but I didn't realize the price that I was paying for being emotionally walled up until many years later. So it can happen. All good intent, not even realizing that I was doing it. So it's okay. It's part of the human journey. So with that, I just want to leave you that quick thought. Be really cognizant, be really emotionally dialed into other people. And if you feel that people aren't sharing with you, maybe you're unwittingly, maybe ask yourself, am I creating a safe space? A safe space for people to share, for people to lower their walls, a safe space for people to be vulnerable, and a safe space to fail. The biggest thing I see in companies, people they don't know why their people aren't innovating and taking risks. And then I've worked with teams, and I discover talking to the teams that they don't feel it's a safe place to fail. They know the mug quotation and the t-shirt quotation that says, hey, take risks. But then they also know the truth of what happens when they do. And people trust their emotions, not mug quotations. So it's okay. If you're not there yet, don't worry. You can get there. I am living proof. But think about how a safe space could change your world. Because I really fundamentally believe that a safe space for people is the best you can do to deepen relationships. It's spiritual physics, y'all. All right. So with that, happy Thursday. Tomorrow, I'm back with the Yes and Brand Show at 10 a.m. this time tomorrow. And I'll be talking to Mike Ganino, my friend. We're going to talk about culture. And we're going to talk about, we're both improvisers, and just culture and how do we make culture better from the employee experience. We're going to talk about it from the employee experience, because we always talk about the customer experience, but I don't think you can have a great customer experience if the employee experience sucks. Employees can't give to customers what they're not getting. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. I think we're even going to do some live improv, because I'm a big believer, and just throw me in there and I'll just, we'll do it. We'll have some fun. So we'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. with the Yes and Brand Show. Make it a great day, everybody. Remember, safe spaces, and give yourself a safe space. Don't judge yourself. Give yourself a safe space too. You deserve that. All right, everybody, I'm Kathy Klotz-Guest of Keeping It Human. You keep it human too. Bye.